Hey guys, I'm Nick from Nasty Nick's Motorsports. In this video, we're going to go ahead and take a 701 from this ski and put it into an old 550 hole using, I don't know, some kind of custom kit. We're going to come up with something cool. In any case, this is a Wetjet ZX ski. We got it for almost nothing, about 200 bucks. But most people don't know that this comes with a 701 61X engine that's exactly the same as Yamaha. It is a Yamaha engine. And the pipe it came with stock is pretty close to a Riva pipe for Superjet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this motor out and put it into this hole, and we're going to try to make our own kit, hopefully save you some money. And well, we'll see how that goes. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this, and all right, guys, at this point, we flipped the hole over, and we're going to go ahead and install a 750 pump into this 550 because there's not really much reason putting this big motor in here if there's not a pump that can use it. So because we're cheap bastards, we went ahead and assembled a random selection of parts here to hopefully get this conversion done. We ended up with a used X2 drive shaft. We're really hoping it's straight. We ended up with a rapid intake grate, which I can only imagine is a works grate before they became works. We have a jet pump that nobody wanted because it's hogged out and somebody pre-cut it and the vanes are terrible. And then we have a odd pitch 750 impeller, which is 1116, which we really hope is going to work, but we're not really sure. And then we ended up with the cheapest version of the pump kit, which is the Rhaas kit with the terrible plastic shoe. Now, we were very impressed that the terrible plastic shoe came pre-bent from the factory. It's pretty shocking. Usually you have to wait to install it before it bends. And then we ended up with all this collection of parts, and we're really hoping that it works. So in any case, follow us through. We're going to install it and see how it goes. Shit the fuck down. And I'll smooth it out of my finger when you're done. Good? Yep. All right, here we go. We'll seal the gap up with more glue. Beautiful prop going into a terrible jet pump.
Now we're just pre-clearing it, you know,
Yeah,
make such a fit right.
Proper clearance.
Oh, there she goes. Now it's all smooth.
Yeah, because we made it past the part that's warped. $500 fucking $500. That shit bent as hell. Fill this with washers to meet the same height.
Isn't that?
Huh?
Isn't that?
Did you smooth that silicone in there?
I haven't yet, no.
No, we can't get our hand in there no more.
Oh, in there?
Last time I hit it with a hammer and broke it off. I was laughing my ass off.
Look at that. Pretty good almost, huh?
Pretty good.
get all the lines kind of
This
perfect.
thing's gonna be
too.
so fast.
Gotta get it nice and slick.
Are you gluing the intake right in?
There's a whole gap right here.
You filled it with silicone now. As you can see, this place is a total mess. It looks like we used every piece in the shop, including some ATV shit.
I'm covered in silicone.
It's all over my shirt.
Covered in fiberglass.
This was well worth saving the money on a plastic shoe. So we got it in there. Shout out to my boys Bryce and Austin for helping me out, because there's no way I was doing that by myself. So pretty much we fought an issue with the shoe flexing on us the entire time. We were able to finally get that pump in there and get this thing seated by having all three of us hold it in there and push the pump in there so that the shoe could kind of fill the voids and go where it needs to go. As you can see, we made a total mess with the 5200, but overall that thing should do okay. The intake rate wasn't too much of a problem. We went ahead and hogged out all 4 holes, and then it lined up no problem. We do have a giant gap back here, which is common with these kind of conversions. What we did is we ended up using a couple spacers right here and here to fill those voids. And then we found out the jet pump itself won't sit in that plastic shoe whatsoever with the supplied seal. So we went ahead and abandoned the seal, and we just went ahead and filled that with silicone, similar to the black market aluminum shoe. While this shoe does seem to work, we highly suggest going with the aluminum shoe. We've done many aluminum ones here. They are way easier, but this cheap plastic one seems to be doing the job, and the jet pump's in there, so we're gonna keep going, see what happens. All right, guys, so what we're up to right now is, because we can't put sponsons on it right now with that exhaust in the stock location, we're gonna go ahead and move that all the way into the nose. That way we can cover that hole by putting a sponson on there, and that way we have a little bit better turning on the right side. So this is a 1977 hole. It has that problem. Most of you doing this conversion are probably gonna already have a rear exhaust. The reason we're not doing that is, well, we just don't feel like doing that. So in any case, hope it looks good, and we'll let you know how it turns out. For this part now, we're going to put the X2 drive shaft in using the Rhaas bearing housing. We just went ahead and coated that with a lot of silicone. There's a lot of silicone there, Austin. In any case,
Don't want it to leak.
all right. In any case, we're going to go ahead and install it in there, throw the drive shaft through, and then we're going to start working on slowly putting the motor in. We went ahead and took off that exhaust outlet. We're going to put the sponson over. We're going to put a metal plate on the back side, and then we're going to drill the hole for the outlet based on where the sponson fits up. And for that, we're going to use the Pro Watercraft fatty sponsons, mainly because they tend to flex, so we don't have to sand them to fit a 550 hole. They just go right on. So we'll check in with you after that part. Hey guys, so what we did now is we removed the front outlet, and we're going to go ahead and re-drill and hole saw that in the very front of the nose. We also installed the Rhaas center bearing and the X2 drive shaft, which went in really easy. We didn't have to do any mods, and hats off to him for that. That's an excellent combination. So going forward, what we're going to do now is we're going to install the fatty front sponsons from Pro Watercraft. Now, the reason we went with these is mainly because with this material, we're able to actually bolt them directly to the 550 hole without having to do any kind of sanding. They tend to flex and form directly to what we're putting them to. Now, Pro Watercraft themselves, they make a great sponson, but we prefer the fatties because they have more or less the best shape for this design. They're kind of way thicker on the bottom, and it's going to give this thing a lot more stability and turning, especially with the heavier 701 engine that we're putting inside of it. So we're going to go ahead and pre-drill and put these on right now. All right, guys, those sponsons went on pretty good. So the Pro Watercraft sponsons went on with no issue. We used the 3 supplied bolts in their stock locations and added a couple more bolts to give it a little extra strength. Overall, at this point now, what we're going to do now is we're going to fill this old exhaust hole with some structure fill fiberglass and get rid of that so that way we don't have any leakage. And we're working on it right now, trying to see if we can use these old leftover wet jet motor mounts as part of our conversion kit. We're thinking that we might be able to drill these plates in the stock locations here and bolt them down, and then run some kind of plate or an adapter to the existing holes over there. If this works, it'd be a great cheap way to have a Yamaha conversion in your 550 as opposed to having to spend about $400 for the Rhaas kit. So we're going to go ahead and work on that. We're going to fill that hole. We're going to start moving around these motor mounts, and we're going to see what we can do. What we did here is we hole sawed and moved the stock outlet all the way into the front of the nose, which gave us plenty of room to mount the sponson. We're also going to go ahead and mount rear sponsons from Pro Watercraft. These are the XLs in the back of the ski. Now this is going to give us great stability in straight line and in turning, and it's going to really help keep that nose down. These are really popular in racing, although they're huge and kind of look a little funny. They work excellent, and there's no question that we want to run these things. I did run these in my other 550 I raced. And we also have this aluminum bracket here, so we did this. It looks really basic because it is, and that just allows us to mount the Yamaha e-box in the stock location. And we also, at the same time, took out the fiberglass nipples inside the hole here, which is going to allow us to take the gas tank and push it all the way into the nose, which will give us plenty of room for the engine, and that'll also help us move weight towards the nose to keep this thing from porpoising. So which might, eliminate our need to have like a shortened pole or anything else. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and test fit the motor. We're going to try to work on mounting the motor, and after that we're just mounting up the exhaust and we should be good to go. All right, so we bolted up those rear sponsons. They went on there with no issues whatsoever. We just used the supplied hardware and bolted them up. So we went on and moved on to the next part, which was we want to get that E-box in there and work on that bracket, but while we still have a lot of room. And it turned out being a lot easier than we thought. We just went ahead and bolted it up into the stock location using a aluminum plate, and then used the stock E-box holders from the sit-down, the wet jet that we took apart, and put them right there in the plate. So this is going to go ahead and allow us to put our E-box right there, perfectly, which is going to keep it off the drive shaft, keeps it in the stock location, and we should have plenty of room to install the motor. So we're going to go ahead and keep going forward. All right, guys, so what we ended up doing is the wet jet motor mounts didn't really work out. So we ended up just taking a 4 by 3/8 inch thick piece of aluminum, and we bolted it into the hole, and we're going to go ahead and drill and tap our own threads, basically making our own adapter plate. Now, before we ran out of room, we decided to start working on the exhaust, and we came up with this crazy creation. This is a resonator out of a Tiger Shark with a bunch of Yamaha hoses, and that ended up making a perfect hose system going in there, and then the water system going into the resonator should make it not so loud. As you see over here, I have a large collection of random ass hoses, which helps me do this task. We also have one of these, which a lot of you doing budget builds will recognize. This is a Total Flow stainless resonator from Amazon. They're like 20 or 30 bucks usually. We were going to use this, but they're only 2-inch in and out, which isn't good enough for those hoses. So we're going to go ahead and bolt all this up and go from there. All right, so what we ended up doing here is we ended up taking some 4 by 3/8 inch aluminum plate here. We put them in here, we bolted it down, and then we set the motor in here. And we kind of moved the Yamaha motor mounts around until it got lined with the shaft here, and then we just drilled and tapped it for the threads. We put the gas tank in, we sanded down those nipples in the other part of the video, and we moved the gas tank as far forward as we could. And we have one strap from the water box holding it diagonally down here, and that's in there really good. That's not going anywhere. And we went ahead and capped off the front because this particular jet ski doesn't have a gas fill in the front. So we have our water lines teed. You'll notice that, keen-eyed viewers, we have that done because these water lines are so small factory on this particular hole. We decided to take both of them, merge them into one line, and then tee them on this side. So that way we have sort of dual water flow, but not exactly. So we're going to go ahead and at this point and put the motor in, and we're going to start tying it up. So we got the motor in. It wasn't that hard. We ended up bolting it down loosely, and then we opened up the motor mount holes over here for the bolts. That way it gave us just that much more adjustment so we can get this thing aligned. We cut the coupler cover from that wet jet down. That way it fits over here. We got the E-box over here, so we're going to start tying this up, running the fuel lines, running the water lines, and right now we're just going to button it up. Overall, it's looking really good. Actually went in really good. Make sure you do your lines and water lines and fuel lines and everything before you start setting the motor in, because it is hard to get our hands around here. Everything in here is tucked in really good. We got the E-box in nice placement. Nothing's rubbing. We got 2 water lines hooked up. One's running into that resonator. One's running out the hole. We did the traditional pipe mod, which is just taking out 2 pistons of water in between the head and the muffler here. We did end up using a size 7 battery, which is about that big, and we were able to tuck it in right there into that back corner, which you can barely see. Shout out to AutoZone. They gave us a completely dead battery. They apologized and ordered us a new one, which means nothing right now to us. So we're going to, but this thing, we're charging it up. We're going to go take it down in the water, and next part of the video, you're going to see us riding it. We're going to go ahead and fire it up. Let's see if this thing's got enough charge to turn over. Oh yeah. We're here at the world famous Body Beach. We're going to go ahead and take this thing out for a run, see how it does. Hey guys, we're back at the shop now. As you can see, we came straight from the water. We're still wet. Anyways, the ski was a total blast. Handles great. It's got plenty of power. I'm not sure how fast it is. We'll post GPS results in the comments. It's probably going to be in the high 40s, low 50s maybe, but it's plenty fast. And it's an absolute blast. The prop we ended up with is absolutely perfect. Turns great. No complaints. The only thing I hate is the stock pole, so I'm going to switch that out to an aftermarket pole at some point. It's my buddy Austin. He helped build the thing.
How's it going?
Tell him about it. What do you think, man?
You know, the sponsor really did help out for being a 550, you know, especially with the 701 at this big motor. It handles amazing, and it's really quick, and I enjoyed working on it. I'm very happy that we finished it in like 2 days or so, about a week in like total, I guess, but it's
Great.
amazing.
Yeah, man, it was a total blast. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, shoot them in the comments. I'll get to you when I can, and feel free to subscribe for more videos. And if you guys like supporting us, visit our store on eBay, Nasty Nick's Motorsports. See ya.